Thank you, Heather, and welcome everybody to another edition of the Healthy by Choice Masterclass on Tuesday evenings. And I'm glad you're all here. This is going to be a really good class. We're going to talk about healthy families by choice. But as we usually do, we're going to do a little bit of review. And this is the front page of a magazine that Heather and I published some time ago called The Self-Care Awakening. And I think we can all agree we can't put a price on our health. And if we're going to be talking about healthy families, we can't get a price on anybody's health that we know or care about, and especially our children. And we're going to address some of that this evening. So self-care is an active process through which we become aware of and then make choices for a healthier life. And in this class, we talk about the Nikan Wellness Home, the Nikan Active Wellness products, and how they can allow us all to be healthy by choice and not leave our health to chance. So this statistic isn't one that I think any of us can be proud of. And basically what it's saying is the U.S. leads the world in chronic disease and pharmaceutical consumption. But it's not just a problem that we have here in the U.S. It is a global issue. So if we look at the statistics here, 50% of adults, 1 out of 2 of us, have at least one chronic condition, and 33% of us suffer with 2 or more. And chronic diseases are the leading causes of death and disability worldwide. They're responsible for nearly 70% of deaths, and they're probably most responsible for just poor quality of life. And these are advancing across every region of our globe and pervading all socioeconomic classes. And chronic diseases have interrelated and common risk factors, and they're largely preventable. Yet we spend about 97% on treatment, with only 3% invested in self-care or prevention. Now, when we're talking about our kids, this is alarming right here. This was a 2012 Time magazine cover article, and it's listing all these just chronic diseases that we hope our kids don't look forward to in the future, but unfortunately, it's a huge, huge issue. So if we look at this, it's a childhood issue as well. So I'm going to take some U.S. figures here, and let's just look. In 1960, less than 2% of kids reported to have a health condition severe enough to interfere with their usually daily activities. In other words, a chronic issue. Currently, the statistics from American Pediatrics from 2017 said at least 54% of American children have a diagnosed chronic condition. And the most common are obesity, asthma, allergies, ADD, ADHD, and autism spectrum disorders. So this is another slide that kind of just looks at the prevalence of these problems. So currently, 1 in 3 children are overweight, 1 in 6 have learning disabilities, 1 in 9 have asthma, 1 in 10 has ADHD, 1 in 12 have food allergies, 1 in 20 have seizures, and 1 in 54 have autism. So we also talked about these chronic diseases and these issues as having interrelated risk factors. Now, some of these are non-modifiable, and that would be like heredity or age, but chronic diseases are primarily environmental, and for example, not genetic in origin. So we have modifiable factors, which really, when we're looking at children's health, I think it have a lot to do with diet, not enough physical activity, but also with those lifestyle choices that we make in our homes, especially as far as diet and some other pretty simple things. So if we look at this and these modifiable factors, they include the following 4. Most of us live in a state of chronic dehydration. In other words, we just don't drink enough water. The average adult sleeps less than 7 hours per night, and the average American consumes way too much sugar, about 153 grams of sugar per day. And we all live in a toxic world, And we sequester these environmental toxins, and it's estimated that each of us have more than 200 contaminants in our body. If we look at this from the standpoint of children, 50% of children and teens are dehydrated. And I was quite amazed at this figure to say that 25% of kids don't drink water daily. 60% of our kids don't get enough sleep. They eat way too much processed foods and foods that are spiked with added sugar and consuming way too much sugar. And at the same time, they carry environmental toxins too. And we may even have to up that figure from 200 to close to 300. This is a study by the Environmental Working Group in 2005, where they tested the umbilical cord blood of newborn infants and detected nearly 300 environmental toxins. And of these, 180 caused cancer, 217 were toxic to the brain and nervous system, and 208 can cause birth defects or abnormal development, and not good. So this is a quote from Harry S. Truman, and it reads, "In the long view, no nation is any healthier than its children." And I would have to wholeheartedly agree with that. So what we can do some pretty simple things. So let's talk about that. And again, in the context of these interrelated risk factors. So we want our children to be hydrated, and we want to be hydrated ourselves. And within these things, what I'm talking about is we want to set the models because our children will model us. And I talked about that in the impetus in last week's blog. And just creating that healthy lifestyle. So stay hydrated, make sure your children are hydrated, and we need to also make sure we get enough sleep. So we need to get at least 8 hours of sleep each night, and kids need 9 to 12 hours depending on their age. We want to make food choices and help our kids reduce that sugar consumption and ourselves to 25 grams a day for women and children and 36 grams a day for men, which is about 6 teaspoons a day for women and kids and about 9 teaspoons a day for men. And while we're doing this, while we're staying hydrated, we're getting enough sleep and taking some good healthy food and nutritionals that will help our bodies reduce that body burden of environmental toxins. So within this, we talk about the solution being the Nikan Wellness Home. And it is a great prevention method. It really is self-care. So Nikan Active Wellness products use science and technology to replicate nature so that we can all be healthy by choice and not leave our health to chance. So it's like a greenhouse for humans. And when I get Karen on, we'll talk about this a little bit more, but it's basically to where these choices are very simple. And for example, within the wellness home, we concern ourselves with having healthy air. We have healthy water to drink on a daily basis and enough of it. Get good night's sleep, have some healthy whole food nutrition, and some healthy natural energies to give us a little more energy. And we convey this in the wellness home through what we call our wellness home packs. Now, I think the main advantage here is that the wellness home makes these choices very simple. And we'll talk about that a little bit more. But we can have healthy water with the water pack, and we can also bathe in healthy water with our microjet shower system. And we can have that on the go with my Pymax Sport bottle or with the waterfall at home, which is our home unit. We can get a great night's sleep with the Nikan sleep system. We can have great fresh air, clean, healthy air with the Kinko air purifier in our home, which is very important because it's estimated that the air inside our homes is about 5 times worse than it is outside, even in the most polluted industrial cities. We can provide some energy and some relief from discomfort and some natural energies for our body to help take care of itself. And we have core nutrition, organic, wholesome, whole food nutrition to help make these choices very simple and very easy. So we each have about 10 trillion cells in our body, and we need to replace 6 billion of those each day. And that seems like a daunting task. But to kind of put it in perspective, 6 billion a day, just in the time I said that, our bodies replaced 50 million cells. but they need the right tools to do that. So I have around the cell just about everything as a physiologist that I can think of, and I've shown this to many other professionals in my field and in the medical field. And I don't think there's much else we could add to that, but as such as air and sleep and antioxidant support, clean, healthy water. But our cells need these things so they can divide and replicate and renew themselves. So here is the Niken product or technology associated with those needs from the previous slide. So this is, in my opinion, by design. It's not by accident, and it's really where the power of the wellness home comes in. So again, it's with these packs that we convey that, and with that, I'm going to ask Heather to open up our guest tonight, which is Karen Messersmith, and Karen is a physical therapist, a very good friend of mine, and we work very closely to help others be healthy by choice. So Karen, thank you for joining us.
Sure. Thank you, Gary. Gary asked me to be on the call to kind of share my experience with the Niken Wellness Home. I got introduced to Niken about 20 years ago. I was actually on maternity leave up in our cabin in the Redwoods, and someone came up and offered to give me a magnetic massage, and I said, yes, definitely. And afterwards, he had me stand on our magnetic insoles, and I felt tingling go from my feet up to my waist, and it really caught my attention. I kind of wanted to know more. As a physical therapist, people had asked me about magnets, and I said, if it feels good, do it. I knew nothing. So they came and did a presentation in my house with a bunch of my physical therapist buddies and kind of put products around, and someone put this necklace on me, and my shoulders dropped. And I said, I'm in. I said, I need these products to help my own health, help others. Little did I know the impact it would have on my family. About a year later, after that, we invested in our wellness home. So we invested in air systems, water systems, sleep recovery, our product line, and just started living because I had the prevention end of it, and so did my husband. So about a year later, my son got diagnosed with a kid's hip disease. And I started working on him every night with some of our technology, and I'd move his hip, and it didn't move, and it didn't. And about a half hour later, it moved a lot more, and it felt a lot better. And we did this for months. He was 4 years old, and he was learning how to read, so this started a ritual. Was also sleeping in a sleep system, drinking the water, and at the time we had little kid magnetic insoles, so he had those in his shoes. And it really, the disease that he had kind of resets itself, and Niken's products kind of put Ryan in that, what Gary explained, that greenhouse effect. So his body could do truly what it was supposed to do, and that was to heal. And fast forward a couple years, he was already entering back to sport. The orthopedic doctor said, you're already doing stuff, relieved him to full duty and or full sports, and he went on to play all the way through high school and college. He has been a very, very much an athlete all the way through, and I know that greenhouse effect of that wellness home enabled him to do that. A lot of kids with that disease don't walk or run right, let alone play sports. I had a similar but different experience. I too had a little challenge going on, and I was a runner and always could run and was active in sports all my life, and then I couldn't. And I started using more products and doing different things, and Niken got me back to sport also. I started back running. I started doing triathlons. I actually, 4 years ago, did a full Ironman for my 50th birthday, took on that challenge, and started also doing marathons. So hopefully Chicago will open up by October, and I will be running my 10th marathon at the Chicago Marathon. So Niken gave both me and my son the gift of being athletes again, but just being back to health. We invested in our wellness home as a prevention tool for our family. At one point, all four of us were doing triathlon together. We have a fifth wheel trailer, and most people have ATVs and motorcycles in the back of theirs. We had bicycles. We traveled all over doing triathlon as a family with our Niken beds and our Niken water and our Niken air, truly preparing us before races and allowing our bodies to recover after races. That prevention factor was true all the way through when the kids grew up. Next door, I remember there was the flu, like 5 times over just next door. And we kind of said, what flu? My kids didn't get sick growing up. We didn't get sick growing up. If they felt bad, we just wrap them in a Nikken comforter, and by the, a couple hours later, they were feeling fine. So that prevention tool, we don't think about getting sick. It just, we are living in kind of our wellness home. And being a physical therapist, it's great to have had Nikken and still do, being able to share products. I might work on someone's ankle, but now I have an insole that can go in and help the energy of that ankle feel better and continue to make them feel better as they walk and run and do their job or their sport. Our sleep system, I call it the recovery tool. Any athlete that I can talk to, or anybody that wants to recover from being sore or doing whatever they're doing, that's what we have a cocoon of energy that enables the body to heal and restore at night. I had my 94-year-old grandma using a Mag Boy, before she had passed away years ago. My mom and dad used the products. My mom said, hey, can I have an extra back magnet? Because I don't want to go without mine. My mother-in-law recently had a challenge, and she pulled out all these magnets and wraps and all kinds of stuff to help her through what she was going through. So it's great. I love to help people, but I love to empower people. So our Nikken Wellness Home is truly a situation where we can empower people to take care of their own health. And, I've had four-legged friends and family members. I have right next to me, a Nikken pet pad. I'm working from home now, and my dog is usually laying on the pad next to me. She's getting older. She just turned 11 last week, and she will seek out where the pad is and or our bed to kind of restore her body, because they know the energy. They know how it works. So I can't say it enough about my Nikken Wellness Home. We're still using products that we invested in 20 years ago. And you can't say much about that with other things. And they're still benefiting us. So I wear products all day long. I wear my bracelet, my necklace, and my back magnet, my earrings, and my insoles. And I'm up working on people. So I feel, yesterday I ran 10 miles in the Redwoods. I'm not even sore today, but I use the products. So I must say this little, we call it a Mag Duo. It used to be a little Mag Boy. This is my family's little first aid kit. My kids grew up with this in their sports bag. I usually have this in my purse or my bag or my car at all times, and I just roll something that hurts. We call it the eraser. So I can run energy through it, and it helps. So I can't say enough. I think I covered mostly everything, Gary. Did I miss anything?
No, but I could listen to you all night. I really could. So
Well,
that's awesome. So let's just chat about this for a minute, because obviously being active in sports yourself really, and your healthy lifestyle, influence your children's lifestyle as well. And I can say the same. I mean, my kids pretty much grew up in a wellness home, and when they went to college, they ended up in a wellness dorm room. I mean, they had to walk.
I forgot that part. Mine too.
Yeah. And they continue to utilize our products, technologies, and also apply common sense prevention, tactics in their lives. So I think that's extremely, extremely powerful.
Yep.
and their children will too. So.
Yes.
So we are a global wellness community living in harmony with nature. And what we kind of mean by that is we have lots of products, but Nikken really takes the time and does the due diligence to source organic and certified organic, especially for our nutritional products. Our packagings are biodegradable. The plastic we use in our water products, some of our other products, are recyclable and biodegradable as well. So we really, it's really just providing our body with the things nature intended so it can heal itself. Would you agree, Karen?
Yes, definitely. Definitely.
Yeah. So we kind of invite you to join our global wellness community, and to do that, get back to the person that invited you on this evening's class. They can give you a couple options so you can start your wellness home. And if you have some interest in some of the other subjects that we've talked about in the class, Heather and I have a YouTube channel, the Self-Care Awakening YouTube channel, where you can take a look at specific areas that we talk about through self-care. And then we will resume classes on June 9th, which will be talking about the new product. So it's pretty exciting. And I'll just give you a little hint. When we're talking about healthy families and, people that have a passion for healthy families, this is definitely a product launch you want to attend. So that's just a little hint there. That's all I can say. So with that, I'm going to stop the share and we can do some